Good morning, this is Jack from Charts and Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 29th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and not sushi trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com, and it's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Let's have a look at the ES chart, where we are basically flat overnight after having a modestly bullish day yesterday. We've got an interesting day today because one, we've got FOMC, and two, we've got bearish leading stats, about 61.9% bearish, and we will see whether or not we'll get a breakdown today. I've actually got some interesting stuff to show you on the RTH charts, so let's move through the short-term ones. But NQ has been continuing down. The little buy signal there failed, and I'm wondering whether this is, well, at the end of the day, if NQ keeps going down, it's hard to see how the others aren't going to follow down as well. On RCY, we've still got a nice looking head and shoulders. It's still broken down with a target in the 29.10 to 14.8 range, and it's still not making no progress making that target. This kind of looks like a bearish consolidation at the moment. On YM, we actually had an RSI 5 daily buy signal, and that made target, but this broke back over the daily middle band alone, as SPX did last week. And I'm wondering if that's going to break down again today. We had a 60-minute buy signal fix at the high, and that is much of the way to the possible near-miss target already. In terms of DAX, we had a weak 6-minute sell signal fix, and that's made the possible near-miss target. And ESTX still got a possible head and shoulders forming. Nikkei, we've got, on the bigger picture, a head and shoulders which has broken down. So I mentioned this yesterday morning. It's now showing up on the daily chart, and this has a target considerably lower. I've marked the target on the RTH chart, but this is potentially a serious breakdown and may follow through to the downside. Now, what I want to talk about on the bigger picture charts today is I'm wondering whether this is a diamond top. Now, these aren't as common as double tops or head and shoulders, but nonetheless, they do happen on a regular basis. And I'm wondering whether we've got one here on SPX. And this actually would explain what this triangle is doing. This triangle, obviously, if this is a triangle in isolation, then this would be a bullish triangle. But if it is not in isolation, and if it is part of a diamond top, so hang on, wait a second, I'll just draw the rest of it in. Bear with me a moment. Then this then becomes a bearish pattern. And then at that point, obviously, we're watching with great interest to see as and when this breaks down. We will see how that goes. But I am wondering very much about that. And that would be the diamond top. So is this diamond top going to break down? Is this a diamond top? But actually, it's not a bad looking diamond top. Not bad at all. Look at that nice trend line there, and it looks all right. So the question is this going to break down? And if it does, well, today wouldn't be a bad day to do that if we get bad news, let's say, like an unexpected interest rate rise, or just concern over the Iran war hotting up again, which it has been doing, with the Iranians doing a surprise attack on Americans in Jordan yesterday, and Trump talking about on Fox today about beating, and these are his words, the fucking shit out of them with an attack tonight. So that is a direct quote from Fox, from Trump on Fox News. So watching this with interest. Now this gets more interesting as we move on to the Qs, because if this is a diamond top on the Qs, then it's already broken down. And that would suggest that SPX might be about to follow. Now, this could still be an overall bull flag forming, but I'm wondering about it. I saw the suggestion yesterday, I had a look at it, and actually it's not bad. So I was talking about it on the bigger picture this morning. South Korea is looking pretty bad here. As I said, we've got a big head and shoulders on Nikkei, and that has also broken down. Not a lot to see on Nikkei on the Hourly chart, not a lot to see on the 15 minutes. In terms of diap, the buy signal that fixed the day before yesterday, made target yesterday, and we saw a clear break back over the daily middle band. This is the only one, as it was with SPX last week, this is the only one to break back below the bracket above the daily middle band. Now, it could be the others are about to follow it up, but it can be, it could be, of course, that it's just going to fade because the others aren't going to follow it up. We shall see, but this is a look at what a diamond top looks like. So this actually wouldn't be a bad example. We will see. Target, subtract diamond height from breakdown. All right, let's have a look at how that would look on both SPX and on the Qs. So bear with me a moment. I do quite like doing this during the webinars. It slows it down a little, but it shows you guys what's actually happening. Right, that's not the height of the full diamond. That's the height of the price diamond, height to low, which is what I would be inclined to use. And if we were to see a breakdown from this on the SPX chart, then that would get us down into about the 7,000 area, which is, of course, where we've currently got the 200 DMA at 7,012. So watching this with great interest. But let's have a look at the Qs, where, of course, this pattern is already broken down. Am I taking this seriously? Yeah, I am, actually. So I'll be taking it even more seriously if we see it break down today. Today is a very good opportunity to see that breakdown. And there is a note on these that you often see fairly rapid declines after these break down, as of course we are watching currently here on the Qs. All right, bear with me. Right, so where would the target on the Qs be? That would be at about the 640 area, of course, with the 200 DMA currently being at 642.64. So this is basically a topping setup that could get us back into the back test of the 200 DMAs, and actually it looks okay. We shall see how that develops. I probably won't do a post on this today because I think a post on oil is probably more. I quite like it. I do actually like that, though. It looks pretty nice, and I'm thinking the obvious data breakdown, if we're going to see a breakdown, would be today. We will see. But I'm liking the returns to the 200 DMAs as well. It's limited. I mean, it's possible it might break down through those, of course, but it's a very good target to see for a retrace. We'll see how that develops. All right, how are we looking on IWM? Nikkei, just as a note, this is the head and shoulders here. It is a very nice head and shoulders, and that's broken down now with the target in about the 52,000 area. Again, that's a substantial pattern. In terms of DAX, do we have a pattern there? Not really. And nothing really that I'm seeing as a possibility. If it retested the high here, we'd have a potential double top. We do have potentially a much larger double top, but honestly, by the time we got down here to test the double top support, we'd have made the 200 DMAs, most likely on both Qs and on SPX. We shall see. All right, looking at IWM. Is there an obvious topping pattern here? Yes, of course there is, because we've got a head and shoulders here, which is broken down with a target in the 279 area. And when we get down to 277, we've got another potential head and shoulder neckline, and we've got another one at 270. So yeah, there is potentially a dark path downwards here, with the first target already fixed in the 279 area. Where is the 200 DMA on IWM? Well, I've got that in the 264 area. So that would be down here, pretty close to this rising support. So again, watching that with great interest. In terms of the short term, nothing really on the 15-minute, nothing really on the hourly. We should see how that develops. But I'm quite liking this diamond top setup, and if we are going to see a breakdown, it's FOMC today. I'm thinking we may well see a rate rise because of inflationary pressures, and if we do, that could actually break the market down out of this current setup, which looks bearish, but hasn't actually broken down yet. All right, looking at DX. DX, we've got, if we're seeing the Iran war hotting up again, I'd expect to see a retest of this high in the 101.6 area pretty soon. We shall see how that develops. UUSD looks encouraging with the bear flag broken down. Not sure what's happening on GBP. We'd be looking to this to break higher on USD/JPY. There is a reason. Yeah, I mean, there's complex things happen with the USD/JPY, with their interest rates going up. Now, I actually wrote back in about 2014 that trying to normalize interest rates in Japan was, because their debt was so high, it was a bit like sitting in a lake of gasoline trying to light a fire. So it might spread out of control extremely quickly. And I'm wondering whether we're actually, that was 12 years ago, this has taken a long time, but I mean, I am wondering whether we're starting to see that here. We will see how that goes, but of course, remember, as this goes up, that is the dollar strengthening against the yen. That's the yen getting weaker. I am wondering if we'd actually start seeing a lot of yen being repatriated because they have higher interest rates there now, whether we might actually see the yen strengthen and this fall. We shall see. But I do have an encouraging pattern for that on the bigger picture. USD CAD, still wondering about a retest of this high. This has been underperforming, i.e. USD CAD has been stronger than the US dollar. Australian dollar, we've broken down from a head and shoulders with a target in the 69.85 area, and that's looking pretty good to the downside. NZUSD is still in the inflection point here, but if we see a break below the right shoulder low, which I've got in the 57.40 area, then that fails this IHS and sets up a retest target at the lows. All right, looking at ZB, looking at the RTH charts, I am wondering if this has got the juice to go a bit higher. But of course, the Iran war tends to act as a depressing effect on the on bonds and send bonds down. We'll see. In terms of oil, I'm actually going to switch over to the RTH charts for this, shorter term charts. I drew in this possible flag on WTIC yesterday, and thinking that if we saw a bounce at the daily middle band, which we did, then we might see this might actually be a bull flag, and we're now breaking up from it. So I guess we're about to see. I'm thinking we might see an IHS forming here. We got a couple of possible IHS necklines here. The ideal one, 84.57. I think did I mark that in earlier? No. But looking at Brent. We didn't have the clear setup there, but we are getting up towards the possible inverted shoulder necklines. I had marked those in here, and I'm wondering about those forming and returning to the highs. If these are bull flags, then the targets will be a retest of the highs. And looking at the RTH charts, well, actually, let's go through the rest of the 60-minute charts first. But here we got a 60-minute buy signal here on the hourly, which is getting towards making targets. It's reaching the possible near miss target on CL. It's not doing as well as that. It's not getting as far as that on the RTH ones yet, I think. HO probably returning back to the highs. RBOB more muted, but I'm thinking probably return to the highs too. NG. NG, we're continuing lower here. I mean, it's possible this could be bottoming action of a kind, but I'm leaning towards seeing I was talking about right on the bigger picture. I've got a target in the 2.49 area, and at the moment, it's kind of looking as though it's going to make it. All right, looking at Brent again, looking at the hourly charts, we've got an hourly. Actually, no. RSI 14 buy signal here is getting towards the possible near miss target, and on WTIC, we're reaching the possible near miss targets here. I was going to say that these got pretty good track record historically, but of course, I'm saying these usually reach at least the possible near miss target, and this one is reaching that right now. And the hour is finishing in 1 minute, so that looks like a wrap there. All right, looking at the bigger picture charts. One thing I mentioned on Twitter in a reply yesterday when we reached this level here was that we've now reached the daily middle band, and we had hourly buy signals fixed, and this would be an obvious area to bounce, and it really was the obvious area to bounce, and we've bounced there so far. If we're going to resume the uptrend, this is the obvious place to do that from. I'm wondering if we're going back to hot war with Iran, which it looks like we are, and if that's going to last a couple of weeks, which is a number I've heard bandied around, then we may start and we may go back to these highs and start another daily upper band ride higher. We shall see how that develops. In terms of WTI, looking at essentially the same. Nice test of the daily middle band, nice bounce there so far. And I'm wondering about a return to the high. Now, that return to the high could be the second high of a double top, but I would say that given that these got almost down to the 61.8, it would be a cleaner double top if it actually stopped at the 50. This looks more like it would lean towards continuation on a move up. In terms of heating oil, we didn't get close to the daily middle band. We didn't retrace as much, and we're still pretty close to a retest of this high. Natural gas retraced a bit more, but is halfway back to the high already. And it wouldn't take an awful lot to get it there. In terms of natural gas, this is the 2.49 target I was talking about, and that's the obvious next target if we are not going to turn back up. And at the moment, there's very little sign that we're going to, and this weak RSI 5 buy signal, I believe, I'll need to be absolutely sure, I'll need to wait till close tonight, but I'm pretty sure that's failed. All right, let's have a look at gold. Okay, gold, I'm still wondering whether we need a retest of the low. Bigger picture, we don't really need it, but we're not really making any traction to get away from it so far. And that could set up a nice triple nested double bottom. SI, we've already retested the low. Palladium, I'm wondering if we're going to need to. Platinum, I'm wondering if we're going to need to. HG is already pretty close to a retest of the all-time high and looks closer on the spot chart. I'm wondering whether we are going to see that. In terms of the other commodities, KC, this has been a bullish consolidation, and that's still a bullish consolidation, but I'm wondering if we're going to go back up and retest this high now. Possible double top when we get there. SB still dithering around, but I'd quite like to see a retest of these lows. CC, we're still stuck between two possible pattern setups here. We've got a head and shoulders, which is broken down with a target in the 4400 area, and we've got a double top here. Sorry, we've got a possible bull flag here, which may be thinking about breaking up towards a retest of this high here in the 64.50 area. So we shall see. Lumber, we've seen a nice move down, and I think I've got a possible weekly RSI 5 sell signal brewing, so watching that with interest. CT, still kicking around, wondering about a resumption of the uptrend. Wheat, nice retracement, wondering about a resumption of the uptrend. Corn, nice retracement, wondering about a resumption of the uptrend. Soy has broken up from the bigger picture IHS, and I'm wondering about a pullback here and then a resumption of the uptrend. ZL, I'm still looking for a retest of this high here in about the 74.7 area. Live cattle, we've got a week 60-minute buy signal. We've now got a promising looking double bottom that could get us back into about the 231 area. On HE, we got a potential head and shoulders that could take us down into about the 85 area. So watching those with interest. And we shall see how that goes. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. Yeah, diamonds. I'm liking the diamonds. I'm liking a potential breakdown from those today. So actually, I might do that one first and do oil second. One of them will be out in 2 or 3 hours. So wait for that. I'm thinking I might do the diamonds first just because that might break down today. Yeah, I'll probably do that. All right, great. In that case, I think it's a wrap. Can I look at Tesla real quick? I can. Bear with me a moment. So, hang on. All right, hang on. Stop charts, ETFs. Tesla. All right. All right, Tesla, I've got to say, I have found a channel here. I think I've shown this to you before. That might be why you're asking about Tesla today. Hang on. And it's exactly at support. Now, it may break. This is a nice looking falling channel though, and it is exactly at support right now. So I'm wondering if that's going to find support there. We haven't got any positive divergence on the daily chart, and On the hourly chart, we do have some. No, we don't, because we need to retest this. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. In that case, we do have some positive divergence here. And we've got a nice RSI 5 buy signal on the hourly, which is fixed already. And we got another one, which is, although messier, and it's a weak one, which is fixed on the hourly chart on the RSI 14. So right now, we're at maximum risk that it breaks up, that it reverses back up here. That is the channel support, and that is us exactly testing that right now. I'll toss that on my equities post today, whether or not that is by then broken down, because if that breaks down, that would also be interesting. In terms of the bigger picture, are we forming an overall topping pattern here? We do have an overall topping pattern, but it's too large. I don't really like seeing patterns with a target at -50 when they break down, because they don't tend to make target. So I meant, it's like this head and shoulders here. When it broke down, I said a target at 0 was too low, so I would be ignoring it. In terms of anything else, nothing really to report. This is a nice looking channel. It could find support here. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, I think it's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. All right, cheers.